Tonight on CTV News, fallout from a landmark Musqueam deal.
I support Chief Sparrow in being clear to this House, to the public, that he's not coming for people's private property.
The Premier faces political heat about what he knows about a new Aboriginal title agreement. Now, the Squamish Nation is raising concerns.
The denser parts of the atmosphere causes the rock to just break apart.
Space spectacle. The sonic boom on the south coast likely caused by a meteor. Did any fragments land in BC?
When you have different time zones, it increases the chance that that becomes complicated and difficult. So it increases the friction in business transactions.
Daylight debate. Now the BC will adopt permanent daylight saving time. Will other provinces and states follow suit?
This is CTV News with me, Jung Lee.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. We're learning more about a landmark Aboriginal title deal between the Musqueam First Nation and Ottawa. The opposition has been hammering Premier David Eby on what he knew about the agreement at a time when the public has heightened concern about private property rights. CTV's Legislative Bureau Chief Rob Buffum has the story.
Another day we learn more. And another day, the NDP's credibility is less.
More fireworks Wednesday about what the province knew and when regarding an agreement between the Musqueam First Nation and Ottawa.
Is this government so incompetent on one of its most important files?
The Premier reiterating he'd never been briefed on the three historic agreements that relate to Aboriginal rights, including fisheries and marine stewardship.
I was not briefed on this. I was not aware of the content of the agreements.
The day before, the federal minister responsible told CTV this.
The federal government did brief the provincial government. It was a number of weeks ago.
The provincial minister for Indigenous Relations acknowledged Wednesday he nor the Premier were briefed, but a junior staffer was told on the phone about last month's deal and didn't pass it on.
I take responsibility that my staff didn't inform me and certainly have been clear with them that this is not the way we roll here.
For his part, the Premier has repeatedly denied knowledge of the contents of the agreements, including when asked about it by reporters on Monday.
Well, first of all, the province I haven't been briefed yet on the contents of the agreement. I look forward to learning more about what the federal government's been doing here. It's important work, I'm sure, with Musqueam.
When it later came to light that Eby was at the signing on February 20th, his own minister says he would have liked a heads up from his boss, even in broad strokes, about the event.
Should the Premier not have told you, hey, I was at this event involving this agreement?
I can say quite strongly that I should have been told.
The chief negotiator for Musqueam with the feds supports the Premier and wants to ensure the public isn't worried the federal deal will impact private property rights.
We're not at the table with the province. The province has no legal responsibility, no place to be at the table at this point in time.
Meanwhile, the opposition says now more than ever, transparency on these issues is key, and the government is coming up short.
I'm not buying any of it, to be honest with you. They can throw whoever they want under the bus. Listen, I've been staffed before.
Rob Buffum joins us live from Victoria. Rob, a neighbouring First Nation says it was blindsided by these agreements and not consulted.
Well, that's right, Mei-Jung. The Squamish First Nation are expressing their upset and outrage over the situation. They say that they were not consulted or meaningfully engaged. They've requested an urgent meeting with the federal government. And they also say that the matter is now under a comprehensive legal review. So it would appear there are various different groups and individuals who are upset about what they are characterizing as a lack of transparency. Mei-Jung.
Rob Buffum reporting live tonight from Victoria. Now to the ripple effects of the Premier's big decision around permanent daylight saving time. David Eby has reached out to the governors of the westernmost states, urging them to do the same. And other provinces are paying close attention. As CTV's Penny Daflos reports, Eby hopes this is the push everyone needed to finally get the job done.
British Columbians are enjoying each afternoon the daylight lasts a little longer and knowing the semi-annual time change is about to become history.
I'm so happy about that.
I'm glad they did that.
Someone's got to go first, and I think it's an opportunity for us to do that.
To that end, Premier David Eby has now sent letters to the states along the Pacific Ocean saying he wants our economies to be aligned for travel and trade to be unhindered. The governors of California, Oregon, and Washington states haven't responded yet, but their state legislatures have passed similar bills, as have senators on both sides of the aisle. Even though the U.S. president also supports it, making it happen still requires congressional approval, which is stalled.
All of us have heard from our constituents on this. The American people are sick and tired of changing their clocks twice a year.
With so many other issues at the forefront, it's unlikely they'll make progress in the near term. Domestically, it may be a different story.
I'm from Saskatchewan originally. Over there, they've never had it as far as I know.
Turns out many Canadians are jealous they have to keep changing their clocks.
You get screwed up when you have to change your sleep.
I absolutely hate it. I don't understand why we have to do that.
We've been doing this now in Alberta since 1972, and we know there's acute harm that comes with that spring forward in March.
The Nova Scotia Liberals want to follow BC's lead after tabling a bill last year.
I think it's great. I think it's just a start of what you'll finally see. It just may take years, maybe decades when we finally get there.
Manitoba's premier isn't so keen.
We only have so many hours in a day, and we're going to spend those hours on healthcare and lowering your cost of living.
Ontario is waiting on Quebec and New York before taking the step, which once again comes back to Congress.
My hope is that this reignites the debate in the United States and that Congress looks to improving the quality of life for people right down the West Coast.
BC's final time change is Sunday. Penny Daflos, CTV News, Vancouver.
Two more BC Conservative MLAs are backing Peter Millibar's bid to lead the party.
He can hit the ground running. He's a great colleague in caucus. He has the innate ability of bringing people together, and I think that's really important right now.
There's no one more experienced and more adequate at knowledge of this province and of how things work here in Victoria, so Peter is an obvious choice for me.
Linda Hebner and Ian Patton announced their support today. They joined several other Conservative MLAs already endorsing Millibar's leadership bid. Hebner and Patton say British Columbians want a government focused on safe streets, reliable health care and a responsible budget, adding Millibar has the experience to help get BC back on track. Not good enough. That is how some members of the Chinese community are responding to Mayor Ken Sim's apology. He expressed his regret in a news conference after spreading false information in the Chinese media about a city councillor handing out drugs. But critics want him to do more. CTV's Isabella Zaffarisi has the story.
Speaking only to Chinese media in February, Mayor Ken Sim started a lie about a city councillor.
We have a councillor, Sean Orr, just this Christmas, he was handing out illegal drugs.
The comments have him in hot water. Sim has since said sorry and says the information came from a photo he did not verify. But some say his apology lacks substance.
And I think that ultimately it goes into the question of why don't they want to be accountable?
It didn't seem like it was directly to Vancouver's Chinese community, and it didn't seem like it was actually apologizing for spreading what really looks like targeted misinformation.
It took about a week for Sim to apologize to the Chinese community. On Tuesday, he said he would send this statement to Chinese media outlets. CTV News reached out to Fairchild TV and Omni, who attended the briefing last month. They say they did not receive it.
Saying different things on English and Chinese social media, saying different things in English and Chinese news. It's something that feels very dishonest.
ABC councillor Lenny Zhou also repeated the claims on WeChat about opposition councillors using and distributing drugs. He has since apologized, but has yet to address it on WeChat.
It isn't sufficient to actually remedy the situation, which requires an apology and a withdrawal in Mandarin on WeChat.
At an unrelated news conference Wednesday, Zhou finally made a public appearance and defended the mayor.
I support his decision. I think when people made a mistake, that's a classic way to make that official apology. So I support that. I think moving forward, we need to focus on the key issue facing in City of Vancouver. Key issue that Vancouver residents really cares about.
Sim says he's open to speaking with the local Chinese community.
If someone wants me to come up to them personally, I'd be more than happy to do it.
But for those who the false claims were intended for, they say the damage has been done. Isabella Zavarisi, CTV News, Vancouver.
The father of a 12-year-old girl critically injured in the Tumbler Ridge mass shooting says she is making progress in hospital. He's posted videos on Facebook showing Maya Gabala enjoying some of her favorite TV shows from her hospital bed. He says it's been so special to see her have a sense of familiarity and comfort. And he listed several examples of Maya's improving condition, including clearer CT scans, more physical movement, and her left eye reacting to light, writing, "It might seem little, but it's a lot for her." If you missed the blood moon, there was a second celestial surprise last night, a sonic boom accompanied by a bright flash. So what was it? The story in just a moment. But first, let's go outside to a dry Robson Street and looking very light out there, which is great. But did you hear the boom
I was
last night?
sleeping. I did not hear it. I sleep through earthquakes, so really nothing disturbs me at all.
But a lot of people did hear, so it's pretty interesting that this meteor came into our atmosphere.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. All right, for us, things cleared up quite nicely. We are seeing a mix of sun and cloud out there. Here's a look at temperatures across the lower mainland right now. We're sitting at 6 degrees or 8 degrees at White Rock, and we are seeing warmer temperatures in the valley, 9 degrees in Chilliwack, Abbotsford, and Pitt Meadows. As we head through the overnight, we'll see overcast skies, 6 degrees, and into tomorrow, we'll see a mix of sun and cloud with a high of 9.
CTV Weather brought to you by Expedia Cruises. Plan, book, and safeguard your journeys. Explore the possibilities at expediacruises.ca.
And enjoy the sunshine tomorrow because the rain returns just in time for the end of the work week and weekend. I've got those details coming up.
All right, thanks, Ann. Now to the big bang that all of Metro Vancouver is talking about. Just as people were winding down for the night, a flash of light followed by a boom that shook windows. CTV's Sinjin Alexander now on the wondrous fireball that thrilled and puzzled people from Comox all the way down to Seattle.
When a guest of the supersonic variety suddenly drops in on Metro Vancouver, this is what it sounds like. Just after 9 o'clock Tuesday, the night sky lit up. Then, nothing. Not for a couple of minutes. Until...
Felt a large boom. It sounded like an explosion.
Searched the house, upstairs, downstairs. Didn't know, looked outside.
The public, puzzled, called the police, not sure if there'd been an accident, an earthquake.
The sound waves from the explosion were actually recorded by our seismographs.
For such a big bang, somehow, some didn't hear a thing.
Not till I got home and talked to my husband. He said, "Boy, you should have heard this boom last night."
Who heard it?
I did.
And who didn't?
We did not.
Now, BC's surprise visitor was a meteoroid, roughly 10 to 100 centimeters large. Big enough, say astronomers, to be considered a fireball, or what's known as a bolide.
They come in with so much energy, hitting the atmosphere, the denser parts of the atmosphere, causes the rock to just break apart.
They begin to vaporize, melt, and dump an astounding amount of energy.
We just heard like a big boom, and then like our front door was shaking.
You know, when you feel a large boom and it just reverberates in your body.
Meteors are constantly bombarding the Earth, so it's not that unusual. The treat is that it was big enough that we got to see it and hear it as far away as Washington State. Now, it's possible some pieces survived and may have landed around Whistler or Pemberton.
However, it's a very mountainous area, and I don't expect any pieces to be recovered.
It was very nice this morning to figure out what that sound was.
Anyone who missed it needn't worry. Another cosmic guest will drop by soon enough. We just won't know when. Sinjin Alexander, CTV News, Vancouver.
A 5-block stretch of Granville Street will be closed to cars during the World Cup this summer. CTV's Martin McMahon has more, with local businesses hoping the extra foot traffic provides a boost for Vancouver's struggling entertainment district.
Recent times have been challenging on Granville Street, with plenty of business vacancies in the once thriving entertainment hub.
It's been a really rough few years, especially since COVID, and there's a number of operators who've just been hanging on for this FIFA opportunity.
But with hundreds of thousands of people coming to Vancouver for the World Cup this summer, the city is closing 5 blocks of Granville to cars and making it a pedestrian-only zone from June 11th to July 20th. The stretch between Georgia and Davie will feature extra patios, vendors, and live music.
For the duration of the FIFA World Cup, we'll be transforming 5 blocks of Granville Street from Georgia to Davie to create a festival atmosphere that can be enjoyed by residents and visitors alike.
It's welcome news to those in the hospitality industry.
Last year was pretty sobering for a lot of people. This year, we have this to look forward to. We had a little bit of bump last year with, say, the Grey Cup and the Junos and things like this, but this is really the big one.
We're going to be on the world stage, which is a bit scary, but I have no doubt that this is going to be a very successful event and a huge boost to our local economy, which we most definitely need.
Now, this pedestrian zone would only be temporary, but with some global cities doing this on a permanent basis, it's worth asking the question, should we do this here year-round on Granville Street?
Our members have been heavily involved in feedback through the Granville Plan. And one of the things that we heard loud and clear was that there was an interest, or there is an interest, in pedestrianization. But until we really see the street start to come together and turn around, it's hard to visualize what that will actually look like.
Buses that travel down Granville will be rerouted to Seymour and Howe Streets while the no-vehicle zone is in place. The city is treating this World Cup pedestrian plan as a trial run as it looks to bring in its Granville Street plan over the next 2 decades. Martin McMahon, CTV News, Vancouver.
Iran under siege and how it's firing back. The latest target, Turkey. Also ahead.
I am over the moon. I am ecstatic with how it all turned out.
The Vancouver artist scoring a major FIFA World Cup contract. We get a sneak peek of his creation when CTV News at 6 continues. Stay with us. Our artist has been given the opportunity of a lifetime. He was chosen as one of 3 designers of the World Cup tournament's official poster. The day after it was unveiled, he spoke to CTV about how it came together and what it means to have his work on the world stage.
West End artist Carson Ting has a very distinct style.
My art is very whimsical, it's very fun, it's very lighthearted.
Last fall, Ting was chosen by FIFA to collaborate with artists from the other 2 host nations on the 2026 World Cup's official poster.
I was just completely blown away. When I told my mom was actually bawling on the phone. And it got me choked up too as well. And this is just something that is such an epic opportunity, once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So this is one of their very first original sketches.
Ting and his fellow artists immediately got to work on the design.
First and foremost, it had to be celebratory. It had to be about unity. It had to be about celebrating the sport on the world's largest stage.
The trio used outlines of Canada, the US, and Mexico to create a soccer player kicking a ball, surrounded by art representing the host nations.
I wanted to cram as much of Canadian icons in there as possible.
In the red portion designed by Ting, there's a moose, a bear, and a Canada goose wearing a Mountie hat.
The bunny is my spirit animal. I have it in all of my art, so I couldn't leave the piece without the bunny kicking the ball.
While the 3 artists did meet in person, most of their work was done remotely.
From the development to the final art to the final assembly, all 3 of us put it together collectively, and we would just pass on the files through WhatsApp, and we would just keep noodling and noodling until we were 100% happy, up until the 11th hour actually.
On Tuesday, as part of the 100-day countdown to the start of the World Cup, the poster was unveiled. Tell me what you think of the final product.
I am over the moon. I am ecstatic with how it all turned out.
And when the World Cup comes to Vancouver in June?
I'm hoping to see it all over the place. So this was one of the very first sketches that made it to the final FIFA poster.
Ting is thankful for the substantial commission and the opportunity to share his art on the World Cup stage.
I'm going to be definitely watching every game and be completely tuned in.
And now you're part of it.
And now I'm part of it as well, yeah.
Shannon Patterson, CTV News, Vancouver.
The province says it's going to push to increase tourism with a goal of doubling visitor spending in the next 10 years.
The Tourism Sector Action Plan is focused on approach to growing our visitor economy and to raise BC's global profile as a premier destination.
BC's Ministry of Tourism is setting a target to drive spending from non-locals up to $48 billion annually by 2036. The province's plan is to market BC as a top-tier destination and improving access through expanded air service. BC will also look to use the upcoming World Cup to increase BC's global exposure. A warning to homeowners. A CTV viewer goes public after a roofing company convinced her to pay nearly $50,000. Now she feels scammed. Also ahead.
They are toast, and they know it.
The U.S. says the military attack against Iran is just getting started. World reaction to the intensifying conflict, including how Spain is drawing the line. That's ahead. Tehran and other Iranian cities remain under heavy bombardment as U.S. and Israeli forces continue their strikes. Iran, along with its proxy in Lebanon, is firing back, targeting Israel, Arab nations hosting U.S. bases, and now even NATO member Turkey. CTV's Adrian Gabriel has the latest from Istanbul.
Pulled from the waters along the southern coast of Turkey, this is the remains of a NATO interceptor missile that knocked an Iranian attack out of the sky. Turkey's President Tayyip Erdogan saying his country is in close consultation with NATO allies while warning Iran a similar incident cannot occur again. In Iran, thunderous explosions echoed across the besieged nation as Israeli forces confirm they've begun a 10th wave of strikes, with U.S. forces hitting deeper into the country. In the 5 days since this war broke out, more than 1,000 people have been killed in Iran, according to a U.S.-based human rights organization. In Lebanon, smoldering debris sends smoke billowing into the sky in Beirut, where the IDF has vowed to uproot Iranian-backed Hezbollah after it launched strikes into Israel.
The numbers are increasing. We have more than 80,000 people, including 24,000 children, forcibly displaced in Lebanon. Many were still displaced since the previous escalation.
This video shared by the U.S. Department of Defense showing the moment a U.S. submarine sank an Iranian warship. The bodies of some 80 sailors reported dead at sea, located by rescuers along the southern coast of Sri Lanka. With 3 other NATO nations, Greece, Britain, and France, sending naval and air force personnel to Cyprus following Iranian drone attacks there, this expanding conflict has reached new shores. More than 100,000 Canadian citizens and permanent residents in the Middle East have registered with Global Affairs Canada. CTV News visited the Canadian consulate in Istanbul to try and ask questions on behalf of Canadians stuck in the midst of this conflict. Passport in hand, security inside this building refused to allow us to enter the consulate. Our request to interview Canada's ambassador to Turkey was also denied.
This is Adrian Gabriel with CTV National News.
One official speaking on background tells CTV News that a range of options are being looked at to help evacuate Canadians by land and air, while assisting those in Iran remains the most difficult, without an embassy inside that country. With war on the horizon, a sunset call to prayer preaches peace in a region and a world where tonight it's in very short supply. The attempted missile strike here in Turkey makes this the 11th country targeted by Iran since this war began. Adrian Gabriel, CTV News, Istanbul.
A day after Donald Trump threatened to cut off trade, Spain's prime minister is standing firm in his opposition to the attack on Iran by the U.S. and Israel, warning that the conflict risks playing Russian roulette with millions of lives.
Nosotros repudiamos al régimen de Irán que reprime.
Pedro Sanchez denounced the strikes in Iran, saying, quote, "This is how humanity's great disasters start." Spain and the United States are NATO allies, but tensions spiked after the European country banned American aircraft from using naval and air bases in southern Spain in the offensive. Sanchez says his country is not going to be complicit out of fear of retaliation, and added that the world's problems cannot be solved with conflicts and bombs. A surprise twist on a classic game where the claw tries to grab a prize. But among the prizes, a small child who managed to climb in. Also coming up, Police officers plunged into the chilly waters of Ambleside Beach. They weren't rushing to help someone in distress. That's coming up. K-pop mega stars BTS have unveiled the 14-song track list for their much-anticipated upcoming album, Arirang. It's the group's first album since 2022, after all the members had to take a break from music to complete their mandated military service. The album will feature collaborations with Diplo, Tame Impala, and Ryan Tedder, among many more artists. Arirang will be released March the 20th. A claw machine in the States is grabbing more than just prizes after a young boy climbed inside. And this isn't the first time this has happened at this particular arcade game.
I saw the picture, I'm like, I knew Patrick was gonna get stuck in there.
Patrick's reaction, like someone took a picture of him and he immediately just said cheese and posed for the camera, like unfazed that he was stuck in a machine.
3-year-old Patrick slipped away from his family and decided to climb into the contraption. His dad quickly coaxed him back out. If the story sounds familiar, it's because it happened at the same exact machine less than a month ago when firefighters had to rescue another toddler who crawled inside. See, I think, Anne, it's just too tempting for these toddlers. They're thinking, I know how I'm going to get those prizes. I'm just going to jump in and I can have all of them.
But how big is that opening that kids are able to climb in?
Clearly too big if a 3-year-old can squeeze in.
Yeah, they're going to have to rethink that for sure. All right, let's take a look at our forecast. Things have cleared up quite nicely for us outside, and it was a warm one. Port Alberni was the hot spot in Canada today at 13.8 degrees. The record set back in 1938 at 18.3 degrees. Ridge of high pressure offshore, clearing things out of the way quite nicely for us on the south coast. For the southern interior, you're looking at mostly cloudy skies through the day tomorrow. We do have another line of rain moving its way in tonight. It won't last very long. It moves out quite quickly. Overcast skies as we start off your early morning commute tomorrow, and then it clears up once again through the afternoon with some mix of sun and cloud before the clouds return as we head into tomorrow night. So as we head through this evening, we'll see mostly cloudy skies with some sunny breaks to start off the day at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning at 7 degrees. Come noon, we'll see a mix of sun and cloud. 10 degrees is our high tomorrow at 3 o'clock, and the sun sets at 6:02 tomorrow, and we'll see a mix of sun and cloud then with 8 degrees. As I mentioned earlier, mostly cloudy skies for the southern interior. Your provincial forecast at the bottom of your screen. Cloudy with showers for Port Hardy tomorrow with a high of 7 degrees. You'll see a mix of sun and cloud for Campbell River and Comox with a high of 9. Same story for the South Island. From Tofino right down to Victoria, you're looking at partly cloudy skies with temperatures between 9 and 10 degrees. A few clouds for the Sunshine Coast with a high of 9. Cloudier up the Sea to Sky Highway, sunny breaks and 10 degrees for Squamish, 7 for Whistler, and for us across the lower mainland. We'll enjoy a mix of sun and cloud tomorrow with temperatures between 8 and 10 degrees. Get outside, soak it all in. Rain returns on Friday, continuing into Saturday. Don't forget to spring forward one last time Saturday night before we head into Sunday. A few showers before it dries up. Clearing up on Monday, cooling down to 7 degrees under a mix of sun and cloud. And then on Tuesday, we'll start off with a mix of sun and cloud. But then as temperatures drop just around that freezing mark in the evening, we could see a rain-snow mix into Wednesday morning before it transitions over into rain in the afternoon and a high of 5. CTV weather brought to you by Expedia Cruises for air, land, and sea vacations. So winter's not over yet. We could see, some flurries and some snow possibly at higher elevations heading into next week.
Well, yeah, it is technically still winter, but those double-digit temperatures really have us fooled into thinking, oh, it's spring.
Yeah, fall, spring, and then now we have continuation of winter.
Okay, we'll see what happens. Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
It may not be beach weather, but that didn't stop dozens of people from making a splash on the North Shore this morning in support of a good cause. 2, 1, let's go! The 10th annual Northshore Polar Plunge saw first responders, Special Olympic athletes, and community members brave the cold waters at Ambleside Beach. It was organized by North Vancouver RCMP and the West Vancouver Police Department.
This event is to help intellectual people with disabilities, to give them a chance to be involved in sports, Special Olympics BC. It's such a heartfelt organization that really truly helps people who are trying to be involved in the community.
He says this year's event raised more than $7,000 for Special Olympics BC, which offers year-round inclusive programs for athletes with intellectual and developmental disabilities. How many Canadians are scared to travel to Mexico after the cartel violence that rocked Puerto Vallarta? Also ahead.
They were really pushing me and, yes, frightening me into thinking that something devastating would happen.
A homeowner's nightmare when she handed nearly $50,000 to a roofing company. Her warning to the public. That's ahead.
Time now for tonight's Skywatch. Heavy clouds hover over the North Shore in this time-lapse video shot near Trout Lake in East Vancouver.
CTV Skywatch is brought to you by Kermac Collision and Autoglass, the name you'll remember when it matters. Kermac cares for kids.
Taking a look at today's markets, the Canadian dollar traded for 73 cents to the American dollar. Oil up 10 cents, closing the day at $74.66 a barrel. Gold was up an even $11. The TSX and the Dow Jones both made gains on the day, up 157 points and 238 points respectively. Recent cartel violence in Mexico has some Canadians rethinking their travel plans. A new Leger survey finds 31% of those planning to visit Mexico are now opting for a different destination, and 7% are considering canceling a trip they've already booked. However, 46% of respondents are sticking with Mexico. That number rises to more than 6 in 10 among those who have been there before. More than half of those surveyed say their concerns about visiting Mexico are in the high range. A woman in Ontario is warning homeowners after she says she was scammed by a roofing company. It started with 2 contractors knocking on her door and offering to clear her gutters for a small fee. But it ended with a nearly $50,000 bill. CTV's Pat Foran explains.
I can't believe that it happened. It's almost like a nightmare.
Colleen McMichael of Etobicoke says it was a day in late January when she heard someone knocking.
2 gentlemen came to my door and said that they were in the neighborhood and they were taking ice and snow out of all of the eaves troughs.
McMichael agreed and they went on top of her home to take a look.
The 2 men went up on the roof and they were there less than 10 minutes. They came down and told McMichael her roof was in horrible condition and needed to be dealt with right away.
And that there was actually a hole in the roof and that there was an animal in the roof.
She was told there was mold, rotting wood, and it needed to be a rush job to keep her safe.
They were really pushing me and, yes, frightening me into thinking that something devastating would happen to the roof and to my house if I didn't take care of it.
McMichael says at the time her mother was ill and her dog had recently died. She feels she was vulnerable when they told her to pay more than $47,000 in advance, which she did. She says they also tried to convince her to pay thousands more to replace her eaves troughs.
No, I haven't got the money.
McMichael signed a contract with Skycrest Roofing Experts. When we called the company, they said there was a bad connection and hung up.
Hello?
Sir, I can't really hear you at the moment. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Other calls and emails we sent to Skycrest Roofing were not returned. The company did work on the roof, but another roofer hired by McMichael told her nails and insulation were missing and some shingles were cracked and broken and the roof needed repairs. McMichael regrets handing over almost $50,000.
I've been taken for a ride and it's really impacted me.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
Farewell chaos giraffe. The Vancouver Canucks have dealt veteran defenseman Tyler Myers to the Dallas Stars ahead of Friday's NHL trade deadline. What other moves could be on the horizon? The Ringside Report is next. Plus, caught on camera when Annie gave herself a haircut in the 3rd grade. She never would have imagined it would inspire a viral video when she turned 30. Adam shows us how. Coming up on the Sawatsky Sign Off.
Report brought to you by
CapitalDirect.ca. Let's make your vision a reality with Capital Direct. Call and talk to our team today.
The era of the chaos giraffe is officially over. Rumors have been circling for a while now, but the Vancouver Canucks really are saying goodbye to one of their longest tenured players. Defenseman Tyler Myers was traded today as the team continues to rebuild. Here's CTV's Craig Krause with this week's Rinkside Report.
Days before the trade deadline, the Canucks are wasting no time.
He did say yes to Dallas.
Veteran defenseman Tyler Myers agreed Wednesday to be traded to the Dallas Stars in exchange for a second-round pick next year and a fourth-round pick in 2029.
This was something that was coming from the Canucks standpoint. I think they wanted to be able to get some value for a player like Tyler Myers, who's 36 years old.
A player who made his mark in Vancouver both on and off the ice.
Hey, how you doing, buddy? I'm Tyler.
Giving back to the community over his 6 seasons with the Canucks. A player who will be missed.
Great guy, so good family man, and I think he'll leave his mark on this dressing room for a long time.
He's a great guy, but he's great pro as well.
He's such a good leader, such a good human being, and he comes to work every day, and he's a pro, and sets a good example for the young guys, so we're going to miss him, but he deserves a chance to win a cup.
Myers will now be joining a Dallas Stars team who are riding a 10-game winning streak and have their eyes set on hoisting the Stanley Cup this season. The Canucks, on the other hand, not so much.
The Vancouver Canucks are dead last in the league, and it's not even close.
It's no secret the team is rebuilding, acquiring draft picks and younger players, but the recent effort by this team is being questioned.
I didn't see the fight and urgency. It's their job, the players' job, and our job to prepare every night for the fans and playing for the crest.
Leaving the question to be asked.
Do you think the Canucks are done making moves?
I don't think so. I think they're trying to make more moves, but it's a unique circumstance around this deadline with teams having to carry cap space into the playoffs and things like that. So I think names like Connor Garland and Evander Kane are at the top of the list of players that could potentially be moved.
Now, with Friday's NHL trade deadline looming, only time will tell if more players are sent packing. Craig Krause, CTV News, Vancouver.
The Rinkside Report, brought to you by Capital Direct.
CapitalDirect.ca.
A high-tech basketball court is about to make its debut in the U.S. The Big 12 tournament in Kansas City will feature a glass playing surface that can change graphics with the touch of an iPad. The LED-powered court can display team logos, highlight plays, and even glow when shots are made. It's previously only been used at the NBA All-Star Game and in Europe. This marks the first time it will be used for official competition in the U.S. The court is made of layered safety glass over LEDs and an elastic base designed to be just as responsive and even easier on players' joints than traditional hardwood. Well, we are getting a first look at some potential new police puppies who need you to help name them.
The point of the contest is we go out and we ask kids to give name suggestions, and then we can have a lot of names to give these dogs.
This year, suggestions must start with the letter B and be fewer than 10 letters. And kids are encouraged to be original and imaginative in finding names. Entrants have to be between 4 and 14 years old and submit their name before March the 26th. That's fun.
Brad? Will Brad work?
It's a bit
not creative
What about
enough?
Bingo? Bingo?
Oh, Bingo's good.
Bibby.
Yeah.
What about Bibby?
Bibby?
That's
my
your
dog.
dog. He's not a police dog.
It's a great name.
It is a good name.
Thankfully, we're all over 14 and we cannot enter the contest. Okay, well, it's time for Homeward Bound, our weekly segment where we introduce you to furry friends from local rescues who are looking for their forever home.
Yes, and here are some pets now available to adopt from the BC SPCA.
Okay, meet Duke, a gentle giant with a lapdog heart. This 4-year-old coonhound Hound mix loves long hikes, forest walks, and sniffing his way through new neighborhoods. Duke would thrive as the only pet in the home, but he also gets a bit anxious when left alone, so he'll need an adopter who can support him as he builds confidence and learns that solo time is okay. You can meet Duke today at the West Vancouver branch.
Adorable. And then there's Max, a 6-year-old Labrador retriever with a big personality and even a bigger heart. He's described as a friendly boy that loves meeting and charming new people. Max is currently on a weight loss journey. Aren't we all, Max? So we thrive with a family who can keep him active while making sure he sticks to his diet. Max is available for adoption at the Richmond branch.
Very photogenic, too. Finally, we meet Prince, a 4-year-old cat that came to the BC SPCA as a stray. Because of his past, he's quite shy and sensitive, so would do best in a quiet, calm home without a lot of hustle and bustle. Once he builds trust and comes out of his shell, the SPCA says he will make a devoted and endearing companion. You can meet him today at the Richmond branch.
So cute.
Look at those eyes. Okay, for more information, you can head to adopt.spca.bc.ca. Well, last night we showed you a rhino getting a spa-like mud bath. Tonight, it's a car wash of sorts, but it's for people. The makers of a futuristic human washing machine in Japan are promising a full body clean in just 15 minutes without any soap or scrubbing. I'm a little skeptical about that. Once a person is seated inside, it fills with warm water while 2 types of bubbles remove dirt and cleanse the skin. Meanwhile, a built-in projector shows peaceful images. Immersive speakers play music picked by monitoring your heart rate for a relaxing experience. I don't know. I think you need the full exfoliation, though.
I
you
want
need
my
some
skin
scrubbing.
off.
Is showering really that hard? I already
wondering.
find it relaxing. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you need the human touch. You need the skin cells off, right? Okay, just before we get to the Sawatsky sign-off, Kevin's got to look ahead to what's coming up tonight.
Yeah, that's right. Mi Jung, another FIFA viewing party is coming to Vancouver. It's being described as family-friendly and free. We will bring you the details there. Plus, we are several months away from wildfire season, but we've seen the devastating impacts the fires can have on infrastructure and air quality. But a team of researchers at UBC have taken a deeper look on how wildfires are impacting our drinking water and what it means moving forward. More on that tonight. That and all your late breaking news coming up at 11:30.
Sounds good. Thanks, Kevin. Finally, Adam finds out how a Victoria woman's embarrassing grade 3 photo inspired a surprise birthday party and a viral video on tonight's Encore Sawatsky sign-off.
Annie will never forget the night before her grade 3 picture day when she decided to do something different with her bangs.
Decided I didn't want them anymore, so I just started cutting.
And never stopped to think she should consult with a grown-up first.
And my mom walked in and she saw it and she was like, oh no.
And ever since, Annie's friends have said oh yes to the resulting photo, which they all have copies of.
You know, whenever anyone's bringing up an embarrassing childhood photo or things like that, we're like, oh, you got to see this one.
So Emily and Jen decided to somehow include the picture during Annie's upcoming surprise 30th birthday party.
We wanted to do some sort of dress-up theme night.
So they rented a house for the weekend and surprised Annie by inviting friends she hadn't seen in ages. But that was just the beginning.
So after dinner, I just kind of said, everyone, off you go.
Emily said, do you mind sitting on the couch? And I'm going to give you a blindfold. And
after her eyes were covered, Emily got Annie to put on a custom t-shirt emblazoned with that grade 3 photo.
And I literally had no idea what was happening.
We all kind of gathered around, then said, take the blindfold off.
Well, being surprised to see a picture of yourself on a t-shirt is one thing. Being surprised by 18 of your friends dressed up identically as yourself in that photo is something entirely different.
And I died laughing. I was crying laughing.
Their plan couldn't have gone better, Emily and Jen say. until an unplanned viral video from the night did.
It just makes it all that much more hilarious.
The surprise has been watched by more than 9 million people and counting on social media and been broadcast across the U.S. on The Today Show.
Oh, they nailed it. Same hair, same shirt.
Annie says her grade 3 self couldn't find it more fun.
She would love it. She would say, that's a great haircut.
And her 30-year-old self couldn't be more grateful to have friends like these. Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, Victoria.
The Sawatsky Sign-Off, brought to you by
CapitalDirect.ca. Let's make your vision a reality with Capital Direct. Call and talk to our team today.
Who didn't have bad hair days? We grew up in the 90s. Come on.
Yeah, don't we all have embarrassing school photos?
I like the commitment with the T-shirts, too, the matching shirts.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
She's got very organized friends. I don't think my friends would do that.
No, like, here's a picture. That's about it. All right, let's take a look at our scenic snapshot for tonight. A great view from Gary Point in Steveston. Thanks, Jeff, for sending this gorgeous shot in. And we want to see your scenic snapshot as well. So email us at scenicsnapshot@ctv.ca.
Yeah, beautiful spot, especially in the spring with all the cherry blossoms at Gary Point.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for joining us. Kevin's back tonight at 11:30.
Thanks.